Hello everyone, I hope you guys are doing good. I hope you guys are having a good week. I'm sorry I didn't post on Monday or Tuesday. I have been taking these antibiotics that have been making me really sick. I actually had to stop taking them. So I don't know if I talked about them in my other readings, but we're gonna be reading on Stray Kids today, and I feel a lot better today. I'm very tired, but yeah, they were making me so sick. So sick. And it was weird because like when I first started taking them, I could like push through it and I was okay. But like towards the end of me taking them, I was like, I'm gonna throw up everywhere. I'm gonna not take these anymore. Luckily, I had some anti-nausea pills left over from my surgery, but like, yeah. Anyway, let's get into it. I don't think there was any specific questions with Stray Kids. I think someone just said, can you do Stray Kids? Yeah. So I don't really know. I'm not a Stray Kids expert. I do like their music. I think that they're really funny. I think they're a funny group. I think they're entertaining. And my best friend is very into Stray Kids. So this is kind of something I'm doing for her. So, okay. I think, is she the one who requested this? I don't think anybody else requested this. I think it was her. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, no, I think I have like a whole list of, can I have the vibe of the Stray Kids? The Stray Kids, please. But I have like a whole list of like requests, but I don't say like who requested it. And I'm like, I think it was my friend who asked if I could do Stray Kids. My mom called them Stray Cats the other day. She was like, who's that one band? Stray Cats? I thought that was really funny. Okay. Oh, the devil. What the fuck? Ooh. Okay. Right off the bat, they're having a really hard time with being in the spotlight. Okay. I'm sorry. They're having a really hard time with being in the spotlight, allegedly. Everything in this video is alleged and for entertainment purposes only, by the way. These cards are so pretty. So I'm going to start with the overall energy and then connect it to the Nine of Swords over here. So we have the Devil reversed and the Star reversed. Kind of taking the Star as being in the spotlight, like star, celebrity. And then the Devil in the reverse as having a really hard time with toxicity and like letting it go. I feel like a power struggle here. Oh my God. I think I picked up on this with BTS as well. It's like they're really thankful for, yes, I think it was BTS. They're really thankful, I would say. And we can kind of see it here with all the water and Cancer energy that's coming out here because they feel like they've created a family, not only within the group, but with their fans. That's definitely Cancer energy. But I think it's come with a lot of ups and downs here. And for some reason right now they're focusing on the downs, so I don't know what that means. I do know, I'm not a Stray Kids expert, but I did see that apparently Bang Chan and, if I'm mispronouncing their names, by the way, I'm so sorry. Bang Chan and Mr. Christopher, I think is his English name. I call him Mr. Christopher. Can I look that up real quick? But apparently Felix and him had been fighting on tour. I'm pretty sure it's Christopher. That's what I thought. Mr. Christopher. Okay. So Mr. Christopher and Felix were fighting on tour. I don't know if they said what they were fighting about. I just heard that they were fighting. But I think they made up. But anyway. We have the Ace of Cups reverse, the Chariot reverse, the Ace of Cups. What did I just say? I've been at home for the last 2 days. I did work when I was at home, but like, okay, Ace of Cups reverse, Chariot reverse, Page of Cups reverse, and the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords is about mental health issues. So these two are really standing out to me. They feel very connected to the Nine of Swords here. The Ace of Cups reverse is feeling really insecure. And then the Chariot reverse is feeling stuck. It's like a halt. And then the Page of Cups in the reverse is a creative block. So I kind of get the feeling that the negative side of being famous is getting in the way of them creatively and making music, or at least making the music that they want to make. I will say their last album, from what I saw, didn't get a lot of good reviews. That's just what I saw. I did not listen to the whole album, so I'm not going to sit here and say it was a bad album. You guys know I'm locked into NCT, so I can only really focus on like one group at a time. So even my friend said that she wasn't like the biggest fan of this album, and so I don't really know why or like what that means. I mean, she told me some details, but I don't know if those details were like the same as why a lot of other people didn't like the album. So I thought that was kind of interesting because I feel like Stray Kids does put out a lot of bangers, and it makes me wonder why maybe the last album sounded the way that it sounded. Like, is there a reason for that? Was it rushed? Did they feel like they had to be performative? Was it the music that they really wanted to put out? Was it something that they're proud of? Is it not something that they're proud of? So, and I'm not here to hate on them. I like Stray Kids, and I think that they're really funny, and I think that they have bangers. So, okay, we have Capricorn, Aquarius, and Cancer here. Yeah, I just feel like the general consensus is like their last album was not received as well as the other ones, so just sad. They're very, 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 very talented, very successful. Okay, can you tell me more about the Devil and the Star? All right, we're gonna have to pull out what's the tea. Sorry, that big sigh was the devil coming out again. Okay. Devil, Hangman reverse, the Magician, the Seven of Cups reverse, and the Two of Wands reverse. Knight of Swords reverse. Again, I don't know what their creative process is like. I don't know how often they put out albums. I don't know, like are they one of those groups that's just like pumping out mini albums all the time, or full-length albums even? I don't know. But it does feel a little bit rushed. Or maybe they kind of like, allegedly, they took a step back after the last album, after maybe getting some negative reviews, and they were like, maybe we should have spent more time on it. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I kind of feel like there's maybe a couple of members here, if not all of them, that felt like they should have put more time into it. And now they're kind of like, see, this is what happens when we don't like, or when we have to like rush things or like meet a deadline. I keep saying I'm going to do a reading on like the K-pop industry and where the K-pop industry is going. I think I'm going to do that after this because I just keep being pulled back to that reading. I think like Spirit really, really wants me to like pull on it, and I really want to pull on it. I feel bad for Stray Kids because I kind of get the feeling from the Devil and the Hangman, they feel like it's like people are forgetting about them almost. Which forgetfulness isn't really coming from either of these cards, but that's just like what I'm getting. So the Hangman in the reverse is like seeing things from a different perspective or needing to see things from a different perspective. And the devil, again, is that toxicity. It's almost, it's like they feel like people are moving on from them, which I don't think is true. So I am kind of confused as to like where that's coming from, or maybe they just took a lot of the negative reviews super like hard, like to heart. The thing about K-pop though is like, when you have that one group that you love so much, it doesn't really matter if they put out quote unquote good music or quote unquote bad music. Like, you kind of just like everything. You know, I, as an NCT stan, people hate on Sticker all the fucking time, and that is genuinely, is like one of my favorite songs. You can make fun of me if you want. I love Sticker. I fucking love that song. And yeah, so people make fun of NCT and Stray Kids a lot for the same reasons. Both of these groups they make noise music. So it's funny. I feel like NCTzens and Stays we're kind of like this. We're kind of like this. We're kind of like, we're the front lines, you know, we're like battling together against the haters. Okay, I'm sorry. The Magician and the Seven of Cups reverse. The Magician is about creation, it's about manifesting. And the Seven of Cups reverse, that to me feels like they're running out of options. And then the Two of Wands in the reverse is needing to make a new plan. But it's also like, do we really want to take risks? Do we really want to go somewhere? I feel like, again, I'm not a music critic, and I did not listen to their whole last album. I didn't. Sorry if you can hear the guy next door talking. But it's almost like they feel like they need to go in a different direction, or they wanted to go in a different direction, but they couldn't for some reason. And it's like the fans noticed that. It's weird because like I'm getting the sense that they like wanted to evolve something. I don't really know what that means. They wanted to evolve something, but they couldn't evolve in the way that they wanted to. The Knight of Swords in the reverse is impulsivity, and the World is a new beginning or a new cycle. And so that's why I feel like this album maybe was rushed. If anyone feels like their albums were, or any of their content had, or any of their work has been rushed, or maybe their tour was rushed, if you guys have any opinions on that, please let me know in the comments. Like, I know my best friend went to see them in Seattle this past summer, and she loved it. She loved it, but she one of the things about the show in Seattle though is that like the venue that it was at, like if you were super high up, you could not fucking hear them, and that was like the problem that my friend had. She still loved it because she loves Stray Kids, but yeah. Yeah, I feel like there's something going on with them. It's like they want to go in a different direction. I'm really getting that from the Two of Wands and the Seven of Cups. They want to go in a different direction, but they don't really know how to do that. They're afraid of alienating their audience, allegedly. Yeah, look at that. Wants you back. What did I say? Wants you back, thief. Caught a case. Okay, obviously we're not talking about anything sexual. Am I allowed to say certain words on YouTube? I mean, on TikTok we can't say a lot of certain words because we'll get bananaed or banned. See? Oh, my TikTok language is crossing over to YouTube. Obviously we're not talking about anything sexual, but this card comes up when we're talking about shame. So caught a case. So this is about like STDs and stuff like that. Obviously we're not talking about STDs. there could be STDs involved here. That's none of my business. I don't give a fuck what they're doing behind the scenes as long as they're staying safe. So anyway, whatever. But yeah, this card is about shame. And then we have thief. That's very interesting. And it's coming out over the magician, which is the creation. Creating something new. Loss in that physical or emotional. Why am I getting like loss of, I think it's loss of time. I don't know why I'm asking why I'm getting that. I've been talking about that this whole time. And then wants you back. To me, again, this feels like alienating their audience. Like they're really scared of like going in a different direction and people not liking it. But also I feel like their last album was them trying to stay the same and it didn't work in the way that maybe their label thought it would. I'm really getting the sense, you guys, that there's a few members, if not all of them, that are like, we should be doing something else. We should be doing something else. Which I think is like, that's so them, right? Because like, don't, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Stray Kids, I think like produces and writes like all of their own music. Obviously they probably have people helping them. But I think that's like one of the things that they're known for is like doing a lot of things on their own. So again, correct me if I'm wrong about that, but like, I kind of feel like there's someone who's telling them, no, you kind of have to like stick to this formula. And I feel like that kind of goes against Stray Kids and like what they're about, right? They're stray kids. What is a stray kid? Like that's someone who's kind of like rough and tumble on the streets. Like that's their vibe. If they can't like be a little rebellious, then are they really stray kids, right? So I think they're kind of butting heads with someone. They have to be. They have to be. Okay, more Capricorn energy here, Pisces and Gemini. Someone feels like they're in their ear. Like you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. You have to do X, Y, Z. You have to follow this formula. You have to, allegedly. Can you tell me more about this? Like who's in their ear? Okay. And if the devil keeps coming out, I'm gonna, oh. Sorry, I saw the justice here on the top of the deck. Okay, legal stuff. Okay. All right, well. Okay. I'm feeling called to another deck. I'm gonna pull out the Psychic Tarot here in a second. Okay. The Chariot in the reverse, the Knight of Pentacles, the Fool, the Five of Wands reverse, and the Magician reverse. These two right here, you guys, this is manipulation. This is manipulation. This is allegedly. This to me feels like how do I say this without being super dramatic? It's kind of giving like someone's in their ear and being like, if you don't do this, if you don't do X, Y, Z, I'm gonna make things very difficult for you. And so then the members are just like, okay, we'll just do the thing, whatever the thing is. But at the same time, I think that kind of goes against like what they want to be doing, allegedly. Oh my God. I feel like I'm going on a million different paths here. I'm sorry if I feel all over the place. I feel like they're all over the place. I will say the vibe that I'm getting from them though is that they are that they really, really care about each other. And I got the same vibe from BTS too. Like BTS, even though they're kind of facing some like emotional struggles, like they still really, really love each other. And I get that sense from Stray Kids as well. But I will say, I feel like this tension here is putting a strain on their personal relationships with each other. And if Stray Kids were sitting in front of me and this resonated with them, and if it were true, I would tell them that they need to go to the source of the problem. They need to stop maybe pointing fingers at each other and go to the source of the problem. So like, who's in their ear, right? Because I feel like this is coming from something that's outside of the group members. Allegedly. For entertainment purposes only. So, okay. Chariot reverse and the Knight of Pentacles. This is like, I want to plant seeds for the future. I want to do something that's going to grow into this huge empire or garden in the future, but it's being halted by something or someone. The Fool is taking a leap of faith. It's taking a risk. Again, that is like the vibe of Stray Kids. That's like who they are. But then we have this like entity that's like, if you don't follow this formula, we're gonna do something. I don't know what that something is. Overall, we have the Sun reversed and the Justice. So I actually did a reading on Stray Kids for personal purposes about 1.5 years ago. And I kind of saw some like money stuff. The only person I told was one of my other friends who's also a Stray Kids fan. I sent her a voice message. I was like, I kind of feel like someone's hiding money from them. That was 1.5 years ago. You know, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if it happened. If it did happen, maybe it got resolved. I don't know. But the Justice here can talk about legal stuff. And at the very least, it's about being treated fairly and balancing the scales, right? The Sun in the reverse is delayed happiness. So there's some sort of like unfair treatment that hasn't really been resolved. And I feel like it's coming from an outside source, but it's kind of like infiltrating. And I just got an image of like Stranger Things. You know how like, you know how Will like goes back to like the real world, but he still has like the alien shit inside of him. Vecna shit inside of him. And then he's like coughing shit up. And so it's kind of like infiltrating like their own personal lives and their own personal relationships. It's an interesting dynamic, allegedly. Okay. We have Cancer, Aquarius, Leo, and Libra. I can't really pinpoint like who this person is or like what they do. It kind of just feels like a manager, an exec, someone higher up. It's someone who wants to like keep the status quo. I'm really surprised that the Hierophant hasn't come out. Patience and Destiny. Ooh, okay. I think this is the Wheel of Fortune in this deck. I don't remember. 10 and 14, October 14th. Did something happen on October 14th? Let me know. You're like, Alex, that means absolutely nothing to stays. Shut up. I'm like, okay. Okay, that's fine. Patience and Destiny. Okay, so there is something here that they're meant to be doing. Again, if Stray Kids was sitting in front of me, I would tell them that their first step is to like go to the source of like what's causing their conflicts and their issues. If they're pointing fingers at each other, they need to stop doing that. Even if there are certain members that deserve to be called out and stuff like that. Again, let's kind of trace our steps back and like get to the source of like why this all started in the first place, right? So get to the source of everything, and then once you kind of solve that, then we can get into this like patience and destiny kind of vibes. The thing about Stray Kids is that their vibe and their music and their lifestyle and the amount of stuff that they're doing every single year is very, very fast paced. So I feel like this energy is a little bit different for them, but they are getting a little bit older, right? Are they 4th gen? I feel like, to me, they feel 3rd gen, but I think that they're 4th gen. Let me know if I'm wrong. They're getting a little bit older, and that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. But as you get older, you get to talk about more mature things. You get to grow up with your audience. You know, their audience is now at an age where they're getting into more serious relationships. Maybe people are having children, you know. Again, like, I think the average age of like a stay is probably in their like early mid 20s. So should you be getting married and having children yet? In my opinion, maybe you should wait. But you guys know what I'm saying, right? I think Mr. Christopher is like a year or two younger than me, and I'm in my 30s. So is he 30 yet? I don't think he is. But Mr. Christopher is, I believe, he's getting up there. I think his nickname is like the old man or something like that. So they're growing up, and it's time. It's not, they don't have to like rebrand, if that makes sense. They don't have to rebrand, but it's okay for them to like go at like a slower pace. They don't have to be those dudes in their early, they're not going to be those dudes in their early 20s for forever. And I kind of get the vibe from them that they want to start talking about things that are a little bit different from what they've been talking about throughout their whole career. So I think that that's what's next for them once they get to the source of like whatever this like bullshit is. Okay, Aquarius, Leo, Libra, Cancer, Gemini. Anything else about this like source of stress for them, allegedly? Shine, dodging bullets. Okay, something about fame. Yeah, it's about fame and money. That's interesting. Kind of want to put bottom of the deck here, just in view. Take it into account. Okay, dodging bullets, shine, fake flexing, and copycat. I feel like didn't this come out? Didn't this just come out? I could be wrong. I don't remember. Okay, dodging bullets, blocking bad energy, escaping toxic people, haters can't touch you, shine, radiate with truth. Your light triggers darkness, stay unapologetically you. I can read. Fake flexing, acts rich, flosses money, acts fancy, shows off. And then copycat, steals your ideas, duplicates your style, feeds off your creativity. Can I say something crazy? I don't know nothing. I think they're under JYP, right? I don't know nothing about like new groups being debuted under JYP or anything like that. So I'm so sorry. Again, you guys know. I have tunnel vision on NCT. So, I'm going to say something crazy. I feel like they were threatened at one point by someone, and they were told like, I can make another Stray Kids. If you don't do this, I can just make another Stray Kids. Are they under JYP or YG? I think it's JYP. Hold on. Mr. Christopher. What's your company? Okay, it is JYP. Thank you. Okay, anyway, I'm getting that from Copycat. These two cards, this to me feels like they're being milked for money. Someone in particular is making a lot of money off of them. I'm not saying that they're not making any money, like the members. I don't know. I feel like they're making money. I feel like they have money. But I don't know. You know, I don't know their personal situations. But I do feel like someone's making a lot of money off of me. Okay. I'm being brought back to the reading I did on them like a year and a half ago. Okay, if Stray Kids were sitting in front of me, I would tell them, allegedly, someone's taking some of your money. I would look into it. Dodging bullets. I will say with dodging bullets, I feel like Stray Kids I feel like the members do a good job at protecting each other. So I do like that about them. It's interesting. I feel like this is probably very common throughout the K-pop industry. In every group, it's like they know that there are people who are like vultures, but the members kind of are like each other's armor, and so they protect each other throughout that whole process, right? So kind of getting that vibe here. Now the photo proof, caught in the act, evidence saved, truth in plain sight, that to me feels kind of like blackmail, allegedly. So I wouldn't be surprised, you know, if there were members who, for anyone who's not into K-pop, these dudes will get, these idols I should say, because it's men and women, these idols will get in trouble if they're caught smoking. So like, you know, maybe someone has said like, if you don't comply, we're gonna release photos of you smoking, you know, like, or photos of you holding hands with somebody, you know. I don't know. I just kind of feel like they're being threatened. Let's get into the advice for them. How can Stray Kids, I could be wrong about all of this. What if one of them saw this and they were like, what is this bitch talking about? What is this girl talking about? She's weird. What is the advice here for Stray Kids? How can they do the things that they want to do comfortably, not be taken advantage of, allegedly? Ooh. Okay. 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 Oh boy. Oh. I'm gonna say something you guys aren't gonna like. The artist in the reverse and the Eight of Cups. So the artist, I think, is them, obviously. Now the Eight of Cups is about walking away. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Oh, whoa. King and Queen of Cups. Both in the reverse coming out on top of each other. That's crazy. I feel like they're kind of in a toxic relationship with their label, allegedly. I'm kind of wondering if they know that. Like, do they know that? Because I'm kind of getting like kids from the Page of Pentacles. You know, in K-pop, they start training from like the time they were kids. So it's kind of like, sometimes it can be like a Stockholm syndrome kind of deal. It's like you feel stuck, but it's like all you know, right? Hopefully that's not the case with them. But I'm gonna say something you guys are not gonna like. I kind of feel like if they can, they should leave and start their own company. I'm not saying that that is an easy thing. I'm not saying that like that's gonna be smooth sailing. But what I am saying is that it's totally possible. And I think that one of them needs to hear that. I think one of them needs to hear that it's totally possible for them to get everything that they want out of their careers and not be micromanaged and not be taken advantage of in the way that they have. It could also be like them going to a different company just in general. You know, starting your own company is a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of paperwork, a lot of legal stuff. I'm sure that they would have to go through a lot of other legal stuff just because I'm sure JYP has, you know, copyright over like the name and the logos and the music, you know, shit like that. So I'm not saying that it would be easy, but I am saying that it's possible. And I just get the sense that maybe a couple of them feel like it's impossible to do the things that they want to do. And that's not the case. It is possible. It's not easy, but it's possible. Three of Swords reversed and the Queen of Cups reversed. Now, this is someone who's irrational, emotionally irrational, and this is healing from heartbreak. Kind of want clarification on these two. I feel like there's a lot of like emotions kind of like building up inside, allegedly. Overall, King of Cups reverse and Page of Pentacles. I always see this as like unhealed Cancer man. When is his birthday? When is JYP's birthday? December 13th. Okay, definitely not a Cancer. Okay. Again, I'm not trying to judge JYP either. I don't know this man. I'm not trying to say he's a bad person or a good person or whatever. I don't know him. And I don't follow him enough to be like, oh yeah, that's a good person, that's a bad person. So if you guys have any info on that, let me know. But this to me feels like a really unhealthy like friendship. This to me feels like coercion. I don't know if this is JYP himself, but the Page of Pentacles is one of the friendship cards for me as a reader, but it's also about like a small opportunity. It's a stepping stone. I just feel like Stray Kids are used as like a stepping stone to get to a certain place. And that's why I feel like there's something about money here that we're just not seeing. It wouldn't surprise me if we found out in like a decade that they went through like secret lawsuits to try to get like their money back somehow. Other advice I have for them if they were sitting in front of me, I would definitely get a therapist. Because again, and I'm not saying that sarcastically, I just feel like there's some weird unhealthy relationship happening here. Why are the same cards coming out? Screenshot, fake flexing. I'm telling you, there's something about money here. I'm sorry, Stray Kids. I feel like someone is... I feel like you could be making more money. Because I'm not saying that they're broke. I don't think that they're broke. But I feel like they could be making more. And they're not. And that, to me, doesn't... It doesn't feel like it's being disclosed properly. Screenshot, moving. This, like, is giving money laundering, to be honest. Allegedly. I don't know if that's happening. I don't want to accuse them of money laundering. Them as in, like, their company. But fake flexing and screenshot. Yeah, caught in 4K, saving receipts. I'm sorry. I'm going to make a prediction. I feel like someone's hiding money from these guys. I feel like they could be making more. I'm gonna make that prediction. I am. Allegedly. This is alleged and for entertainment purposes only. Yeah. Okay. Moving to me. This card coming out over the Artist reverse and the Eight of Cups. I mean, I think that just further emphasizes that like they could go somewhere else where they could be making the amount of money that they should be making. So, I don't know. Very interesting. What's coming next for these guys? Awareness. Guys, I'm telling you, financial and material changes. Okay. Oh, God. Let me get one more. Sacrifice. Yeah. Guys, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I think they'll win. If they fight it, they'll win. I think they will. I think it's going to be rough. And I don't think it's going to be easy. But I think they would win. I think that people would rally behind them. If this is true, because I could be wrong. I could be fucking wrong. I could be totally wrong. But if it is true, and they fought it, I think they would win. I think the sacrifice here is that, like, that stardom and that, like, because at the beginning of the reading we were talking about, like, being in the spotlight. I think that there's a really, really big fear of negative press in the K-pop industry, and I think there's a fear of negative press everywhere, but it's very, very intense in K-pop. I mean, again, if you're caught smoking, it's like people want to like send you to your deathbed. So I'm not exaggerating on that. So I get it. I get it. But I do think a lot of people would be on their side. I do. I just got the image of like a bunch of like smaller K-pop groups who have been like the victims of this kind of stuff. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna leave it at that. I also think what's coming next for these guys is that we're gonna be seeing some different projects from them. This to me also feels like there's something different coming from them, which I think is a good thing. I think is a good thing. I think they learned from the negative reviews of their last album, and I think they're really taking that to heart, and they're gonna switch it up, I think. So that's good. That's good. That's good. I don't know. I don't know. I wish them luck. I like those guys. I think they're great. And I think they're very talented, and I think that they're unique as well. I think their music is really unique, and I don't know, they just seem like nice guys. So anyways, that is what I have for you. Go check out the K-pop reading playlist if you'd like to see some other groups. If you have any requests for other groups, please drop it in the comments. There's also a form in my StanStore link that's in the description. You can go fill out a form, like an official form. You can like write out all you want, especially if you want to do it anonymously, right? You can go request through the form in my bio. So anyways, that is what I have for you guys. I love you guys so much, and I will see you later. Bye.